Now being confirmed that the politician Visvin Reddy has been formally charged for inciting violence against the Electoral Commission in relation to comments he made about former President Jacob Zuma. Reddy has said that if the courts rule against him, Konto Wesizwe, I'll start that again. He said that if the courts ruled against him, Konto Wesizwe, there would be anarchy in the country and that there'll be no elections as a result. Reddy is a member of Umkhonto weSizwe. He's also the leader of his own political party known as ADEC. Well, we were due to speak to a representative for Reddy and ADEC at this time. Unfortunately, not able to speak to them. I'm sure you'll see them either on the Pulse or News at Prime or other shows this evening. However, in the meantime, the Congress of South African Trade Unions has applauded the NPA for lodging charges against Reddy. Matthew Parks is a spokesperson, acting spokesperson for Cosatu. He joins us now. Matthew, good afternoon to you. Why do you believe it's important that charges have been laid against Visvin Reddy for the comments he made?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. Look, workers have got a vested interest in our democratic dispensation. We want to see our elections on the 29th of May being held in peaceful, free and fair conditions. And we've really been quite alarmed by many of the instances we've seen where some political parties and their representatives chose to stoke the flames of political violence, to incite people to break the law, and to question the credibility of the IEC to conduct free and fair elections. So we've been quite irritated when government law enforcement institutions are not cracked down on those who seek to misbehave. So we must commend the NPA when they actually do take action. And so for us, this is welcome. It doesn't come against a vacuum or a blank slate. We witnessed the devastating impact of violence in KZN and Gauteng 3 years ago, which cost many people their lives, but also cost the economy about 50 billion rand. And of course, we are all familiar with the violence, the history of violence in KwaZulu-Natal. So we're quite pleased when the NPA has decided to deal with these idiots who seek to instigate violence. They should be dealt with. We've been irritated for some time when those who were behind the violence in KZN and Gauteng 3 years ago weren't brought to court. So when government does do well, we must commend them and we must cheer them on to do more.
Isn't this just about using figurative language? And I mean, plenty of people in politics use figurative language. Members of Cosatu, leaders of Cosatu, were quite happy to join in singing a song about bringing a machine gun when the former president used to sing it on those stages.
Yeah. Look, I mean, perhaps you've got a good point, Stephen, or perhaps all of us, we do need to kind of cool down the temperatures. And look, we appreciate when elections, when the silly season, every little politician, especially for those of very obscure political parties, will seek some sort of little headline. That's fine. But I think we shouldn't treat it too lightly. KZN has witnessed many, many people being killed, not just in the 1990s, not just before the 94 elections, even post beyond that. There's a real history of political violence. So it doesn't help us when we have probably our most contested elections since 1994, one of the most contested provinces. It doesn't help to have a prominent leader of a prominent aspirant political party threatening to block anybody from voting, threatening to unleash political violence. So the law is clear, the Electoral Act, the Constitution are very clear. Anybody who threatens violence, who threatens to undermine elections, they need to be held accountable, irrespective of which party. If we don't make examples of people who are breaking the law, then we shouldn't be surprised when everybody simply chooses to disregard the law. So it's correct for the state to deal with those who want to break the law, to incite those who want to do so, to be held accountable. And again, Stephen, we had witnessed the real consequence of us treating people who misbehave lightly 3 years ago. And we've all been irritated as a society when the law enforcement institutions have not held those persons accountable, because it makes it very difficult to take government seriously when they tell people to behave or face the consequences. I think for us in this regard, we must really appreciate the NPA's efforts and we must encourage them to do more such instances.
So, I mean, I accept all of that, but I mean, an ANC leader in KwaZulu-Natal recently said that the elections would see former President Zuma in hospital. I think what he meant was the result would be a shock to Zuma. I think that's what he meant. But not everyone would have seen it that way. What they would have heard was an ANC leader suggesting it would almost be a good thing for former President Zuma to end up in hospital. This goes in lots of directions.
Yeah, and so that can be the positive thing, Stephen, about seeing somebody being brought to court on Wednesday, is that it's going to send a message to everybody across the political party line, because there hasn't just been this outfit called the MK Party, which has been misbehaving. There's been other political parties too, even some who are currently in parliament. We've all witnessed for the past decade the spectacle of violence in the National Assembly time and again. People physically assaulting each other, security having to be called in to bring kind of a semblance of order and sanity into Parliament. So I think we all need a bit of a cold shower. And again, key to re-establishing that culture of political decency and tolerance, irrespective of one's political viewpoints, is to hold those who misbehave accountable. So this is, for us, it's a step in the right direction. It won't be the end of the road. There are others who need to be also tackled, and the NPA should apply the law to anybody, irrespective of the cut of our political t-shirts. Those who misbehave must be held accountable, and that's the way we're going to make sure that others who are tempted to misbehave think twice about that.
Matthew Parks, representing Cosatu, thank you very much indeed. Do appreciate the time. We do hope to still hear for a spokesperson for Visvin Reddy, due to appear in court tomorrow.